Bubbly Steve is available for pre-order at shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. You've got less than a month to pre-order this 15-inch plushie. Check them out. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Kiki Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the first Disney movie in a long time to get approval to run on Chinese movie screens. And it's not one you would think.
It's Luca.
Luca. You know, the movie that Disney couldn't be bothered to bring to the theaters here in the US that had a lot of people at Pixar very, very upset because not only did they not bring it to theaters, they didn't even charge extra for it. It wasn't even Premier Access. They literally just dumped it onto Disney Plus.
As a giveaway to Disney Plus subscribers. Also, it's the movie that the media was all about, saying it was about representation, even though I think it was the director, said no, it wasn't. It was about friendship. Well, I think this answers that question because China wouldn't be taking it if it was about anything but friendship.
That's true. That is true.
So I guess I didn't see those articles.
They didn't. So we're gonna talk about this. You did an article on it earlier today. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're at 229,000 subs. Doing a lot of animation-themed videos today. We talked about Disney, talked about animation, talked about comic books, movies, whatever interests us that day. And this is very interesting.
I thought it was interesting too, because there's been a drought of movies in China coming out of Hollywood. It's been a lot of stuff can't get picked up. They've been leveraging things like, because of bad press or because this actor says something we don't like, we're not going to carry your movie. And basically China's been, holding, hostage the idea of being able to take a movie over there. Well, now all of a sudden, and since June, there really hasn't been a Hollywood film, but they've given a date to Luca. Now, there are some reasons for this.
Okay.
What's interesting about the choice being Luca was, like you said, they didn't run it in American theaters. They just gave it to Disney Plus, and Pixar staff were very upset.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. They were pretty livid because they were like, we're basically at this point just producing direct-to-streaming content. And we're freaking Pixar, and it was the second time it happened.
Right, because they did it with Soul, too, at Christmas.
Yeah.
And they weren't giving it to theaters. They weren't getting theatrical releases. Meanwhile, like, Cruella got a split release. And we've seen what's happened since with, like, Black Widow and all the fallout around that. And the Jungle Cruise they did it with, too. Moving forward, Shang-Chi supposedly is going to go direct to theaters, but that's probably going to be walked back. People are expecting that to be walked back. And it doesn't have a date for China either. Actually, if you go, there's a list they gave on Deadline. They said that right now, the last movie that was there was Peter Rabbit 2. And they don't have release dates for China for, like, Black Widow, Space Jam New Legacy, The Jungle Cruise, Dune, Reminiscence, Shang-Chi. None of those have release dates in China.
And it's curious because Shang-Chi was designed for Chinese audiences, as was Space Jam 2.
Well, I was going to say, look how well it worked out with Mulan and Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah.
Or Raya, or however you say that. But I'm just like, so of all the movies they could pick to give it a release date to, they did with Luca. Now, people might be thinking, oh, that's a little weird. Not really. Because when they had Coco, they took Coco over there. Now, a lot of times movies don't get picked up in China because their view of things like, the afterlife is different than like the Western view for the most part. So they don't like let that come over. Like even when they have the Phantom Manor over in, what's the one that one?
Yeah, well,
Hong Kong? Is that Hong Kong or
Hong Kong, they did, they did Mystic Manor.
Mystic Manor.
Yeah,
Mystic Manor.
every Disney park has a version or some kind of version of like, the Haunted Mansion, but in Hong Kong, they made it Mystic Manor. And because they had to take out the ghosts, they couldn't do ghosts.
The mysticism's okay, but like the whole ghost thing, they don't, they don't want. So Coco, the whole idea of family and ancestors and stuff is very important over there as well as it is like in Mexico. So they allowed Coco to come over, and Coco did very, very well in China.
Yeah, I remember reading about that, and I thought it was really interesting because they said part of the reason they wouldn't bring Ghostbusters 2016 out over there, and they were kind of banking on it in some level, but is because of the dealing with themes of the afterlife. And I was like, well, this whole movie's literally about the afterlife, but they said it was done in such a way it was reverential to ancestors.
Right.
And yeah.
So there's a precedence that we already saw, Pixar Coco do very well. So now, and I guess Soul, they brought Soul out over in China. When here they gave it away on Disney Plus as like a perk for subscribers. They brought Soul out over there, and Soul did, I think, had like 58 million.
So that confuses me.
I know, right?
There are a couple of reasons.
I know.
We're dealing with not the afterlife, but the before life, right? So we are dealing with like those kinds of a theme, and I hate to be
really weird.
I hate to be the one to say it, but there are a lot of people are talking about how Chinese audiences don't respond well to movies with black leads, and it was a predominantly black cast in the movie.
Yeah, well, it did well. It got 58 million. So there's a precedent for why they might pick Luca, because the other animated films that were Pixar based seem to have performed well in China. Now, Luca was, of course, given away to people on Disney Plus, but I guess they did release it to non-Disney Plus audiences. They made about 20 or 30, I can't remember which million. But here's where it gets weird, though. So they're letting Luca come over here, which sounds like, oh, Disney's going to spin it as a win. Except right now in China, 30% of their box offices are closed because of the resurgence in COVID. And of the ones that are open, they're down to 75% capacity, and that's only in lower risk areas. It could be stricter in moderately risked areas. So they also just postponed their one big blockbuster that they thought was going to be huge in China, which was A Battle at Lake Changjin.
Yeah.
They just postponed that. So then they have a big opening. So they're like, okay, they're letting Disney put Luca in there, okay, instead. But Disney has like 10 days to promote Luca. They don't have anything set up because they're going to get in there. So they have 10 days to dump an audience in the already like a major part of the theaters are shut down. So they're only getting in, I think, because they had openings.
Probably, because this doesn't seem like this would have been part of the plan. But then, the flip side of that, too, is look at what's going on with Netflix right now. Netflix is producing or co-producing a lot of 3D animated movies with or for China. A lot of movies. And so there is a huge market in China for animated content, for animated movies. So, yeah, I mean, I can see that probably, of all the stuff they had, would have been their safest bet.
Yeah, it probably would have been. The other one that would have been a safe bet, I think, would have been Jungle Cruise. Because China loves Pirates of the Caribbean, and Jungle Cruise is basically Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's literally just
pretty much,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's so obvious that I did an article the other day that The Rock did a thing where he put his face on Johnny Depp's Captain Jack with eyeliner because he kept saying about how much he loved pirates and pirates has inspired him and he wanted to do a movie as big as Pirates, and he goes on and on about it. And so when everybody else is bringing up the fact that it's like Pirates, you're completely on the mark with that because apparently it's his company who made it. So as a joke, he did himself with black eyeliner. They would have loved Jungle Cruise then.
Yeah, they would have. What's up with that? Yeah, but maybe they just thought, hey, cartoon's a safe bet. This one's going to get through pretty quick. I don't know. It's curious, though. But yeah, if I were Pixar, if I were working at Pixar, I'd be pretty salty because I'd be like...
Well, yeah, they wouldn't
really?
bring it here. But Disney's still trying to make money on it. They
Yeah.
had it in non-Disney Plus territories. Now they're bringing it to China, trying to make money on it. I mean, you already give it away to Disney Plus subscribers, but they're still trying to make some money back on it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess China would be the best bet because it's like the biggest box office. They don't have Disney Plus there. But it's just interesting. So now Hollywood's hoping this is like the door opening so that they can unload their movies to China. And they might get their way because they're canceling all the movies they plan on being blockbusters in China. They're postponing them because they think COVID's going to ruin them.
Yeah, I think long term, though, I think China is making, we've talked about this before. I think they're making their own movies. They don't need Hollywood. And I think this was an opportunity. But for the most part, I think they're going to be like, yep, okay, once everything goes back to normal, yeah, we're done. We don't need your movies anymore. A
lot of countries actually started their own, or put a bunch of money into their own agencies and stuff to make sure that there was more money for their own countries to make their own movies because of what happened with COVID and they weren't getting the Hollywood blockbusters. They had to make their own entertainment. So Hollywood's already going to take a hit globally no matter what.
That's how it used to be. It used to be that, we had a lot of foreign films and we had a lot of, art house films, and it was really cool to see movies from other countries that, maybe you'd never
Still
heard
watch
of.
movies from other countries
You know?
and shows.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it wasn't as globalized. Like it was very like, oh my God, here's this thing that was like huge in this one country. Never heard of it. It's been out for like 30 years because, it was limited to just this other country.
Or we could do what Hollywood does and just steal everything from Britain.
We could do that too.
And then
endless sitcoms.
Yes, and just change the name a little bit and just steal shows from them all the time.
They did. There was a list of like almost all of the really popular U.S. sitcoms were stolen from the UK.
I know. I'm just saying.
Not stolen, but inspired by.
They're flat out. So But anyway, I digress. But so now we're getting a movie. Finally, China's getting an American movie, or finally Hollywood's getting a movie back into China. I guess is more like what's going on. But it's because they had a cancellation on one of their own movies, and it's Luca of all things.
So they're clearly just friends.
Yeah, they have to be.
They have to be because China wouldn't.
If they would see those articles where they say they're not, they probably wouldn't like that.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.